And with that, I am delighted to introduce our speaker today, Dr. Shannon Leinen. She resides in York, works for the college there in York, but is also an entrepreneur. So that's why she's here today. We're going to hear about her businesses in York, and we're delighted to have you here, Shannon. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me. It was a chance that I found you through the World Wide Web. For those of you who are newer to our pre-chatter, and I work at York College. My co-professor, Dr. Stacy Turnbull, who joins you sometimes, I believe, and sends our students to join you with these Perk ups. I said, you guys should talk about this. And so I'll just do a brief interjection of who I am. And my husband was supposed to be able to join us today, but just with the disruptions of the week, as we all know, he just wasn't quite able to join us. So I did put some information around or on here regarding him. But as he is really he's the technical mastermind. I'm more the behind the scenes in the partnership with marketing and customer engagement, and he is more the put it together and make it happen guys. So we're a great team in that aspect. But I'm Shannon Leinen, and my husband's name is Jared, and we are what I would call constant thinking entrepreneurs. We have two formal business fronts. We own the Lockbox, which is an escape room and event business, which I'll spend most of my time talking about today. But we also own in our town the Washing Well, which is a laundromat, self-service laundromat system in our town. And we also service some apartment buildings, and we're hopefully actually in contract with maybe a potential university also in servicing their laundry. And then my husband and I also have an eBay store in my building, in our house, not my building, in our house, which takes up my entire basement, but we ship about 200 packages a week out of my basement too. So I could talk about a lot of different things. We think constantly thinking about how the fun things we can do in our life can become a business. And I hear that a lot of that from the opportunities that you guys have created. I mean, we're working with cats and working with your passions and family issues and just thinking video games and outside of the box. I really love. I love finding like minds in that. So just a little bit about us, not to get too touchy-feely here, but this is a lovely picture of my husband I put on there mostly to embarrass him, but he is the registrar at York College by day, and I am the Dean of Online Learning at York College by day, and then we operate our businesses also. That's kind of our night gig, but we have three beautiful kids that are 5, 3, and 1. We're highly involved in lots of things. Like I said, we own a couple of businesses, and in a past life, we have high interest in soccer. So kind of just a background of Jared. He has experience in appliances and technology and is trained in computers, as well as has spent about 10 years working through college and beyond on nights and weekends. As you know, being an entrepreneur means that you are probably working 24/7, so that we've kind of always operated that in our world. And he has been formally trained in repairing appliances and technologies of all sorts. For a while, he was the director of IT for a university, and then he took a break from that and went to be the director of the Nebraska Soccer League. And now he's at York College as the registrar and has a mind for thinking and processes. And myself, I have my doctorate's actually in communication studies. I really love interacting with people, and as well as connecting people with education. But I've had a variety of positions through my professional journey in being a circulation manager for a newspaper, being a bookkeeper for a tax position, for a tax auditor. I've always been great at recruitment, and so I've come back to help some York College through my career since we've been in York and are York alum, to recruit for collegiate soccer and for collegiate speech programming to bring in students. But now my full-time gig is being the Dean of Online Learning and here at the college. So I'm just gonna move forward and talk about why we become small business owners. You know, life takes you in different facets of your life, and so you find what your talent is, and sometimes opportunities present themselves. We opened our first business, which was the laundromat, because my husband had extensive experience in the technical and repair aspect of machinery. So when we actually had a house in York, and across the street, there was a laundromat that existed, and due to some very circumstances, it went out of business, mostly because the family that owned it, they had to split up, and the situation was that the business came up for sale, and it just sat. And for our community, there was 2 years where we did not have a laundromat business, and so we picked it up and restarted it and rebooted it, and we've since actually moved it to our own owned building, where we don't rent anymore from where it was initially. But moving forward to, you know, at that time we didn't have kids, and we just had a lot of time to invest. And as you move into different phases of your life, you know, owning and operating and doing all the manual labor yourself just changes. And so my husband and I have always had a passion for escape rooms. That's kind of our personal habit. We've done probably close to 100 across the country, and some internationally, actually, when we travel. It's just kind of our thing that we do. And in looking at it, it's not an overwhelming, if you have the ability to do the technical side and to find a location that made sense, it's kind of a by appointment only business, which is really manageable with our life now. And York, you know, or small towns in general, don't often have a lot of entertainment options. And so we thought it would be fun to engage with the entertainment industry and try to bring something in that, one, was manageable, two, could happen in our off hours of our day jobs, if you will, and three, could provide something that was unique to our community. So the Lockbox, we just had kind of thought about it, talked about it, because we've done so many and have an idea of how it works, and Jared had the technical ability to make it happen. And we found, just happened to run across a location that made sense. And when the shutdown happened, it was just a good opportunity for us, because our jobs shifted as many did, and we had a little bit of extra time in our world, and just made it happen. Now, there was the worry about what's going to be happening, and how, you know, when people would start coming back to business, and would, you know, an escape room generally has, if you're not familiar, it's usually a family-friendly game. An escape room is where you go in, and the room is set up as a live action puzzle, and you can go in and engage with the items in the room, and it'll open doors, or drawers will open, and there will be different pieces to the puzzle to try to escape the room. Now, in the state of Nebraska, you can't lock anybody in anywhere, so we are not very scary, and our themes are family friendly in the business. So we selected themes based on what we felt like the community would be interested in. Our themes are kind of a 007, escape, masterminds, layer, if you will, and stop the bomb. We have a second one, which is where you become the bandits and rob a saloon. And then we have one which is a magic room. We call it the Illusionist, and you get to play and tinker, and there's lots of high-tech magical kind of things that happen when you move things in the right direction. And so we wanted to make sure it would be a place where York is a very family-friendly town, to know our audience and who it needed to serve. and we have found success in that. So why investing? I'm gonna see if this will progress here. Why investing in York, Nebraska? It is a small town, and I think small towns are often great places to start small businesses, which can fit into your family life also. And so we wanted to invest where we live, and find niches. And due to the the networking and the ability to speak directly to your potential audience or customers, small towns are great for spreading information and word of mouth and recommendations, and that is really great to build a community surrounding us. Escape rooms and what it means to put that in. Should you want to put one in your town, we always say that escape rooms are a business where it's really great if there are other escape rooms to be out there because that are good quality, because it's not generally something you do over and over again at the same location. You can go from one room to the other. We have 3 rooms and a couple of mobile events, and we do some live unique events in our community. We're hoping to have a 300-person escape room this summer in our community, where we advertise and get lots of people involved, of course, when there's no snow on the ground. So there's opportunity to be involved with different organizations, our York Young Professionals and our chamber, and talking with them. And so escape rooms are great. So if you want to start one in your town so that you can have a really good one for us to refer while we build the next one and can get people to have repeated business, it's a really great thing for it to be a trend in multiple places. Opening a business in a pandemic was kind of interesting. The loan process was slow, and some other things that were a little bit concerning with our build out process. But overall, we have felt like people want to support small business in small towns right now. I'm hoping that you guys are experiencing that too. And yeah, we also were able to get a grant from our community, which was really helpful with our storefront, where I would encourage any of you who are thinking about building in your local communities to also look at opportunities from your chamber and engagement with what's out there, because there is some funding for small businesses too, which I know those who work in the entrepreneurship and consulting and others that you have in this community could probably help. Jared and my professional goals are to eventually, my husband would like to be a full-time entrepreneur. We have been successful, I feel like, to what we would expect from our businesses. But I know that that's his personal passion, is to continue to engage in that way. And so someday he'll have that opportunity to do so. So I would love to open up for questions, because I feel like that would be helpful if that's appropriate, Mr. Bohr.
Absolutely. No, thank you for that, Shannon. That was outstanding. Who's got questions? I know they're out there. Don, go ahead. You're on mute though. Don, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
How's that?
That's better.
Good. Shannon, I've had a 66-year relationship. You know, with York, we actually go back 4 different generations, and my mother, Darlene Swartz Miltner, has given a lot of money there to the college. In fact, they have even named a room after her. But anyway, where is your business located there in York? Is it on Lincoln or Grant or Nebraska Avenue, or, you know, where is it at?
Sure. We are on the corner of 2nd and Platt.
Right. I know exactly where that's at.
Yeah, we used to be a concept store, the building that we have put the Lockbox into.
Lockbox, okay, because my grandma lived at 2nd and Platt, 201 Platt in that gray home.
Oh yeah.
She lived there from 1957 until 1981. So yeah, I know that area very, very well.
Awesome. Yeah, you'll have
Yeah,
to do a drive-by or give us a call.
yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, the fascinating thing to me about entrepreneurs is that they rarely stop at one opportunity. They're always analyzing and always seeing opportunities everywhere. So it's really interesting that you have a laundry business and an escape room, among other things. I'd like to talk to you sometime, Shannon, about a laundry entrepreneur I met recently in Ashland that's doing some interesting things. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of potential there. We're self-service in that area, but we get calls daily regarding people wanting more service, particularly in the laundry business, but that's not to our capacity.
Very good. Other questions for Shannon?
Shannon, this is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
So my question is related to, so between your business of having the lock room and the business of having the laundromat, right? Your husband is the main tech for both of those businesses. He's the main, fix things, get things repaired, get parts, do maintenance, right? So if something happens that it needs to be fixed, at what point do you guys determine that you need to do an insurance claim? At what point does like a full machine need to be replaced? Like it's beyond repair kind of thing, or like someone was drunk and disgruntled, or like was acting inappropriately in the lock room and like freaking elbowed through the drywall kind of thing? Like where do you determine, because you do your own maintenance, to do an insurance claim on your business?
That's a great question. We have, knock on wood here, never claimed insurance on any of our items. Now, people are destructive pretty consistently in our businesses because we have high use, as you pointed out. And so, yes, people don't always conduct themselves correctly. It's in the newspaper business, we call that pilferage. You just have to allot for some money in there to just account for that high usage. We just replaced all of our machinery in our laundromat this year. All of our dryers and half of our washers. We had a little stop with the poor weather. It's difficult to put several $1,000-pound machinery in when there's a lot of snow outside. So we'll get to the other half when it thaws out here a bit. But yeah, it's a hard thing because you do have to allot that money, and sometimes it comes at very inconvenient times where you might be lower on funds or business has been slow. With all business, this particular weather, this has been a terrible month for both of our businesses. Actually, people aren't getting out. I'm sure many of you are experiencing people just kind of hibernating too. But you just have to allot that. With the escape room and people touching things, we're more present with them in that, in trying to help monitor. We don't baby people, and we want them to play and use. Allotting for that, buying high quality product is important, and making sure that you have that ability for that use to be there. But yeah, great question. We try to steer clear of insurance for a lot of reasons. Sometimes the hassle, it's not worth it to raise your rates. Save it for the really bad rainy day. But I think we had another question.
Jody, do you have a question?
Well, I was just going to say this is brilliant because my girls are going to be all over this, like the 007 thing, and after watching Now You See Me, they're going to be all over the other one. This is so brilliant. I completely how many people do you allow in a group to go through, and are you able to give prices as to what it costs a group?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're by appointment. You can book online through our website for just a regular sized group of 4 to 8. Generally, you can do 2 people, but we recommend it's a little more fun and because you're generally allotted an hour. Now, for us, if you go to a large like very corporate escape room, like you went to Las Vegas or something where it was huge, they keep you strict to that hour. But our goal is to make sure everybody has a pleasant experience. We want everybody to escape. We want everybody to have figured it out, all the puzzles and what they feel like they paid for, and not be lost in the journey. And so we let everybody get through. But as far as pricing goes, it is really a variety for large groups. It depends. We want to have large groups come. Since we have 3 full-size, fully experiential rooms, we can accommodate 8 to 10 times 3 rooms, around 30 people at a time. And so we had a lot of holiday business for parties and those sort of things. It's great timing to bring in your office and other groups, or even families, large family groups. We have a next door. Our building is it's a building that's split in half. So our other half of the building, we've made it into a party space where it has a full kitchenette and handicap accessible restroom. We actually have a church renting it on Sunday mornings. That is they're just in and out on Sunday mornings, but it's great for events, and then they can have their party or their pizza or whatever they want to do, and then come to the room, and then they can have their own space to exit. So another way to utilize a building space that you might not normally, maybe you want to invest in a storefront, but you don't have the capacity for, your business won't fill it up, using that space for other options too. Same thing with our laundromat. The back side of it was too big for the building we bought, and we made it into storage units, and we keep those filled also. So we're constantly busy.
Shannon, here's an idea I'm going to give you for free, okay? Back in my merchant sailing days, I spent a lot of time waiting for ships in New Orleans, and my favorite bar was a place called Igor's. And you could go into Igor's, and in the back of the bar, they had 3 washing machines and 3 dryers. So you could go do your laundry while you were eating boiled crayfish and having a beer. So I gave you that one for free. Just remember that.
Love it. We'll work on our alcohol license with our laundromat. I think that'll be a good fit.
Shannon, have you considered maybe partnering with a caterer or something so that when these parties come in, maybe they can come in and cater for them also?
Yes, that is something that we have thought about futuristically. I think we need our strategic plan right now with the pandemic, as things start opening up and we can get it's more comfortable to advertise for larger groups to come in. That will make a little more sense for us, but that is a great piece of feedback, Miss Jody.
And Shannon, if you'll just take a minute now, a lot of our audience is probably from the Lincoln area. Let's assume we want to take a road trip and we want to head out to York for a day on let's say a Saturday. What should we take in? Where should we eat? And there's a lot of terrific businesses in York and a lot of neat things going on. So besides bringing a load of laundry with us when we come, what sites and what restaurants should we take in?
Absolutely. That's a great question. You could make a great little outing to York. We have of course, the chances are, which features itself, we have a very good Mexican restaurant called La Cocina in the center of our town, just a couple blocks away. You could walk to our business from either one of those locations. We actually recently have some, if you want to come in, we have a new ownership on our Captain Redbeard's coffee shop, which is a great place to just lounge for a little bit and get a drink there. We also have a brand new business in town called Goody Pop. So it's a really fun popcorn shop that has other things to look at and lots of nice cutesy things to explore. Our town right downtown is actually really fun to walk the square. And if you're just in and out and want to see cutesy things or antiques or thrift stores, or we have a nice toy store downtown. So it's a great place to come and just spend a Saturday with your family and go in and out of small businesses for sure. Yeah, great experience in our community, and I would highly recommend. We also have lots of good events coming in. Like we have a large home and garden show coming in this weekend from our chamber out at the Holthus Convention Center. So it'd be fun to, again, support small business and see what's going on with them, and then come on into town.
That's awesome. Thank you. Any other questions
I had
for
a couple
Shannon?
questions. I mean, so I guess two maybe related questions. One is, what is the ratio of people, coming from York itself versus coming from, one of the towns that's like farther away? And maybe a related question is, how do you decide how often you need to refresh the themes to keep people coming back?
Great question. We see kind of a mix and match of businesses coming in. A lot of our business is pretty local, Stromsburg to Gretna to Aurora, Grand Island, and Lincoln, Seward. That's kind of where I feel like our social media reach is right now. And I think that pulls a lot of people in, just constantly pulling pictures. The advantage to our business is at the end, usually you take a trophy picture, and so you can tag those people, and it has the ability for them to see people who have done it. And our best customers come from word of mouth. Did you have a good experience? Yes. And then they come and bring their family in, or the next group. We also have lots of repeat customers. So to your point about refreshing, once they do one, they kind of get hooked a little bit, and we come and they go through our filter. We will start rotating out a whole room about once a year. Since an experience costs them anywhere from $100 to $160 an experience, depending on the size of their group. Now, if we have large groups of 30, we give discounts for that sort of thing, but a regular booking, it's an investment. So they would come and they would spend that amount, and then, a couple weeks later, a month later, they'll come back. So we need to rotate about every week or every year, at least one room. And we constantly build extra experiences. Like we have children's games for a half an hour that are not full room experiences, but you can come to our location and we'd set up your birthday party and we do those sort of things with them. The Candy Factory is one. We have a circus train, another one. We're working on a dinosaur themed one. And like a Jurassic experience. And so it's really great. And then when you get those large groups of 15 to 20 kids that can play, they go tell their families, and their families come. We did a Christmas event, which is fun too. Yeah, lots of great things there.
Outstanding. Well, Shannon, thank you so much for your time today. It's awesome to see what's going on in York. I know the chamber there is very active, and the economic development people are very active in York. So congratulations on your businesses. I cannot imagine how busy you are, both with full-time jobs at the college and running several businesses on the side. So stay sane, and we appreciate your time today. I hope everyone that has an opportunity will join us next week. We have Akariti Agrawal with Girls Code Lincoln speaking. So Girls Code Lincoln is an organization dedicated to teaching young women how to program computers and write computer code. So that'll be a great presentation. Join us next week on Thursday at 10 a.m. and look for our newsletter on Monday that will announce future speakers. Thank you all for being here, and have a great day.
Thank you. I hope you reach out if you have questions on a personal or professional or college level, and thanks for the opportunity to spend some time with you.